You know, there aren't very many, but there are some people who actually watch these, right?
I do.
I do.
I always watch.
Yeah, I watch it.
I watched the one back
I
where
always
Jack
like 'em,
spilled
too.
coffee everywhere.
That's the best
Okay.
video.
All right, so we are back in our parabola notes, and we're on 4C. And remember, this is the part where we are writing the equation of the parabola. So, do not forget, every style of equation that we look at, the circle, the parabola, the ellipse, hyperbola, the type, the style of the equation will be different. So you will need to keep these straight. This is what a parabola looks like. It has one squared parentheses equal to a number times a not squared parentheses. Okay? So, what do we know? We have a parabola. The focus, now keep in mind, this is the focus, is at -1, 3. These are not the numbers that are going to go into your parentheses, because the numbers that go into your parentheses are the vertex. This is our focus. The directrix is x equals 7. So this is change my attendance here. This is the situation. Now, can you tell me anything about the parabola? If this is the focus and that's the directrix, can you tell me anything about it? It goes left. It goes left. So it opens this way. Now I need you to look at that. Remember, nobody's grading your picture. I need you to look at that, though, guys, and make sure it makes sense to you. It opens around its focus and away from its directrix. So that's how it opens. Now, that tells me lots already. If it opens left, then which letter is in the square? Y. And left is a negative direction. Left and down are negative. Okay, now, I would love to have the numbers that go in these parentheses. But those numbers come from the vertex, right? Can you tell me anything about the vertex? Now remember, this is your axis of symmetry right here.
Probably like halfway.
So it's going to be halfway between -1 and 7. And it's going to be up 3. Would everybody agree with that? That the y is 3? And the x is going to be halfway between -1 and 7. How do I find midpoint? Middle value? Add them and divide by 2. I find the average. So what's the average of -1 and 7? -1 plus 7 is 6. Divided by 2 is 3. So it happens that your
Wait, what do you do for that?
add them and divide by 2. Average them. Find the middle value. Add them and divide by 2. Now it happens that they're both the same, so it doesn't really matter, but y goes in here and x goes in here. Now the only thing left to figure out is that number, which is 4p. Okay? This is p. Right? So what is p? -1 to 3 is how far? 4. So if p is 4, then 4p is what? 16. Kids, write it down. P is 4, then 4p is 16. And there's your equation. D is exactly the same. Let's try that one. So I'm writing a parabola, so I'll set up my equation. And I'm gonna draw a picture of what I know. The focus is at 2, -3. Now guys, that's the focus. Don't get confused with the vertex, that's the focus. And the directrix is y equals -5. Y equals crosses the y-axis at -5. Okay, so this was my focus, this is my directrix. Can anybody tell me which way this parabola opens? Up. Can everybody see this one opens up? And because it opens up, I know some things about my equation. What do I know? X is squared, and whatever that is will be positive. Now, to fill in the numbers, I need to know my vertex, don't I? Where's my vertex going to be? Somebody said it earlier, halfway in between. So this one's at -3, this one's at -5. What's the middle of -3 and -5? -4. So what are the coordinates of this point? 2, -4. And again, if you put this on graph paper, you can just count to find the point. So 2 -4, the x minus 2, y plus 4. I need this number, he's 4p. And this is p. So what's p? How far apart are my fingers? 1. So p is 1. So 4p would be 4. Now the last one, just do a picture. This one's a little bit trickier. Okay, we're writing an equation. So here we go. I got a squared, a number, and an unsquared. Now you got the picture. You see it opens to the left, right? So what, correct? So what's squared? Y. And that's going to be a negative number right there. Plus, we're lucky, we actually know the vertex. So x will be 0 and y will be 2. Is that okay with everybody? Now, I don't know the focus or the directrix. I don't have any of that information. All I have is some random point on the parabola. So right now, I know this number is going to end up negative, but right now I have no idea what it is, so I'm going to call it n. Just because I need something to stand for. This point is an x and a y, right? That's what points are. What would happen if I put that -6 in here and I put the -4 in here? Could I figure out what my missing number was? So what I'm doing is I'm not doing anything really that has to do with the parabola. I'm simply plugging in a point on the curve and letting it tell me what n is. So what's -4 minus 2 squared? 36. And of course, that's just -6n. So it looks like, what's my n? -6. Now I knew it was going to be negative because it's over to the left, and now I know it's 6. Okay, that will not be on your test, I promise. But it's not too hard, it's just different than the other one that you did. Okay, all right, get out your extra practice packet. And the first page was circles. You'll see the second page here. It's actually number 2, page 2. This is your next quiz that we will be having tomorrow. Okay? The quiz tomorrow will have 2 problems on it. These are actually 2 practice quizzes. Can you see? They're actually 2 quizzes I gave sometime in the past. But the top of the page, problem 1 and 2, and the bottom of the page, problem 1 and 2. So we're going to do a circle, and we're going to do a parabola. Okay, so let's get busy. What will your quiz tomorrow look like? This. These 2 skills are what you're going to have to do. Okay, so nothing like what we just did. All right, quiz number 1. This is old news. Find the center and the radius. So what do we need to do? Put the x's by each other, Jack says, and I'm going to leave it blank because I know I'm going to be completing the square. Put my y's together. Now the 10, excuse me, the 10's already moved. If it weren't, I would move it, but it's already moved. So here we go. Now, some of you do great with this, and some of you are still struggling. Stop, clear your mind of senior assassin, and think. What is half of 2? 1. What is 1 squared?
1.
1. What is half of 4 squared? 4. What squared parentheses is x squared plus 2x plus 1? X plus 1? And what about this one?
1 minus 2.
Y minus 2? And 15? So what is my center? Negative 1, 2. And what is my radius? Square root of 15. You will do that tomorrow on your quiz. Okay? Let's jump down and do number 2 on the bottom quiz. This is 2 practice quizzes. There's 2 questions on your quiz tomorrow, and they're exactly like these. All right, so here we go. First thing, I'm gonna put my x's together, right? And my y's together. I'm on problem 2, quiz B. same, kids, I'm on the same side. Jeff, why are you flipping pages?
I'm sorry.
Right here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So what completes the square? You tell me. 9? Anybody not get 9? We need to talk about it before you miss it again. How'd we get 9? Half of 6 squared. On both sides. All right, what goes here? 16. Right? All right, tell me my parentheses. These are important. This is where my center is coming from. What's this gonna be? X minus 3. What's this one gonna be? Y plus 4. And 29. So you're gonna fill in the blanks. You're gonna say the center is what?
3.
3 negative 4. And the radius is root 29. So one quiz question tomorrow will be this.
Just one.
There are 2 questions, Jeff. One of them will be this. Okay,
Okay.
all right, now let's do the other question. So back up to quiz A, problem 2. This is not a circle, this is a parabola. And we need to fill in some blanks. We need to fill in vertex, focus, directrix, and focal width. 2 of those you can fill in right now. What's the vertex? 2 negative 3. What's the focal width? 8. Done. Half the problem is done without doing anything. Okay. Now, I gotta figure out my focus and my directrix. So 2 negative 3. Which way does it open? Up. Very good. We know it opens up because x squared positive 8. That means that my focus is up here and my directrix is down here. Would everyone agree with that? Okay, so I need to figure out how far up and down I need to go. And we call that P. And 4P is always 8. Or no, 4P is always this number, right? It's not always 8, it's whatever this number is. So 4P is 8 in this problem. Which means P is 2. So I'm going to start right here at this point, and I'm going to count up 2. So where am I? 2 negative 1. Up 2. So I'm at 2 negative 1. Now what if I go down 2? Then I would be at negative 5. No, but be careful, it's not a point, it is a line. So we don't say this is the point 2 negative 5. I'm not gonna argue with you, but the directrix is the line, and the line is y equals negative 5.
On the focus, why do you not move the opposite? You're only moving the y.
Because you're going up. Which direction is y? Up, right?
Yeah, but if it was the other way, you'd move the x.
Yeah. You're counting on your graph paper. Okay, let's do same thing. Now on quiz B. So here's our problem on quiz B. Vertex, focus, directrix, and focal width. And let's just write down what we know. What do we know? Right off the bat, we know the vertex is, be careful,
-1.
No, because of that.
3, -1, that's the trap.
X has to go first.
That's the trap, X has to go first. Okay, do I have everyone's attention? X has to go first,
Oh, yeah, I got that.
okay? Okay, you're talking, are you listening? X has to go first. So the vertex is 3, -1.
I didn't write -1.
Of course you did.
Okay.
That happens all the time. That's why I'm trying to get you to pay attention and listen to me. X has to go first. No matter what the order is of the equation, when you write that point, it's X comma Y. Okay, what's focal width?
We'll do that to me on the test.
4. Now, guys, it didn't happen in either one of these, but I wanna caution you, if this had been a negative, you would still put 4. The focal width is a positive number. It is a measure, it's a width, okay? So, always focal width is positive. So if you're paying attention, if you're in tune here, half the problem's done and I haven't done anything. So now I have to do the other part.
It's Y.
So I know my vertex is 3, -1. And I know that I am opening which way? Right. Why am I opening right? Because it's y squared positive 4. My focus is somewhere in here. And my directrix is somewhere back here. Would you agree with that? And I can figure out where they are real easily if I know this distance, which is P. And I know in this equation, 4P is 4. So P is 1. Okay? Now, if P is 1, I'm going to start at my vertex, which is at 3, and go right 1. Well, where am I if I go right 1? 4, -1. Back to Claudia's question. The y isn't changing, because which direction am I moving? Right. Right is x. Now I'm going to back up 1,
Now it's just the number.
and I'll be at x
Two.
equals 2.
Just two.
No, x equals 2. We
Oh,
need
yeah,
the
that's what I
equation.
mean, but I'm saying it's not
Yeah,
a
it's
point.
not a point. It's x equals, it's a line.
And so that's all they're telling me, so it's this.
That's the quiz.
There's two other things.
Yeah, 1 circle,
Yeah, and then two things.
1 parabola.
That.
Okay, guys, 1 circle, 1 parabola.
Yesterday you were having us mark down the axis of symmetry. I know you don't grade our like our
You
pictures.
absolutely write that down.
Write it down.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can. I'm not grading it.
Yeah, I was just wondering if
It's
that
just more
you
confusing
think
stuff.
that'd be helpful.
Well, it's always helpful, yeah, sure it's helpful, you know that's where your focus is.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, but you don't need to write it down. All right, is everybody clear on what tomorrow's quiz is?
Solid.
So, I would suggest that maybe tonight, you go home and you just pick one of these, a couple of these problems off this page, write them on another sheet of paper, make sure you can do them on your own, so that you're ready for tomorrow, okay? All right, let's put that away, get our notes back out.
I was like, all right, we're good. Class.
By the the way, the parabola homework will be due on Tuesday, yeah, the parabola homework's due Tuesday. I feel like I have all my dates mixed up, so I'm gonna make sure I fix that. Parabola homework is due Tuesday, okay? Everybody clear on that? Yeah, okay. All right, let's talk about our next comic section, which is the ellipse. Not eclipse, ellipse. Anybody know what the shape of an ellipse is?
Was it like,
No? It's like an oval. Yep, that's what an ellipse is. And they can be sideways or they can be up and down. Or they can actually also be diagonal, but we don't talk about in this class the diagonal ones. So what's an ellipse? Writing down our definition. Set of points in a plane notice that every one of our definitions starts that way. Set of points in a plane, the sum of whose distances, from two fixed points is constant. Now, I know that's a lot, but if this 65-year-old haggard woman can remember that, you can definitely remember it. Your brains are sharp.
shot haggard before?
It's okay though. All right, set of points in a plane, the sum of whose distances from two fixed points is constant. Okay, so we've written that down. You need to know it. It's in your notes. You're gonna refer to it, memorize it, whatever. These two fixed points are called the foci. Foci is the plural for focus. So you know how a parabola has one focus? An ellipse has two. Anybody in here take Latin? This is a Latin thing.
I did.
Okay, so you know the US masculine is plural as I am. So this two focus points. Okay? That's what an ellipse is.
That's the way I wrote it.
So what does, let's look at problem A, 1A. We have the equation x squared over 16 plus y squared over 4 equals 1. Every ellipse equation that I give you will be in standard form, okay? You will not have to put it into standard form. It will be written in standard form. So in other words, you won't be doing the same kind of completing a square you do in a circle. It'll look like this. All right. What do we need to find about this? We're gonna draw a little picture of it. What do we need to find? Well, the first thing we have to find is the center. Take a look at the equation. Take a wild guess where the center is. Origin. Why is the center at the origin? There's no parentheses, there's no adding or subtracting to the x's, right? Real quick, look on the back of the paper at question C. Look on the back of this page at question C. Now, turn your page here. Look on the back of this page. Question C. You see what I mean? So we find the center the same way in every curve. It comes from the parentheses square. And if there's no parentheses, then it's 0. So our center is at 0, 0. Now, you see the 16 right here? That 16 is under x. So I am gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4 in both directions on the x-axis. Now, where do you think the 4 came from? Square root of 16. An ellipse is like a circle. Circles have radii, a radius, and when you have the equation of the circle, how do you find the radius? Square root it. But since it's not a circle, it has like 2 different radii. It has a radius distance this way, and it has a radius distance this way. So those radius numbers come from the denominator. So the square root of 16 is 4, back and forth 4. And then, guess what? Up and down 2. And then connect those dots, folks, and look what you got.
An ellipse.
An ellipse.
Oh, that's so silly.
Those 4 points are the vertices. So it says, find the center. The center was the origin. Find the vertices. The vertices are the points that you connect when you make the picture.
Like that.
Huh?
If they're all down.
Oh, right, yes.
Is that it though? That's the whole question?
That's, well, it said, we have to find the center of the vertices, but now we have to find more stuff. Read the question.
I hate the first.
So now we have the center and we have the vertices. Now, I'm gonna skip the foci for a moment and go to the length of the major and the minor, because that's super simple. An ellipse, by virtue of being an ellipse, is stretched one way more than the other way, right? The long way is called the major axis. How long is my major axis? 8?
8.
And how long is my minor axis? 4. Those are easy questions. Easy questions.
Done.
So the length of the major, and I will probably, like on a test, it'll just say like this. And you'll say the major is 8 and the minor is
It's a long
4.
test.
Okay? Now, foci. The foci are always located on the major axis. So they're always somewhere. I have no idea where. It doesn't matter. I'm not grading your picture. They're somewhere on the major axis. The distance from the center to the focus. So in other words, I am finding this distance. The distance, in this case, from the center to the focus is the square root of 16 minus 4. So how did I do that? What did I do? I subtracted my denominators and took the square root. So that's going to be the square root of 12, which is 2 root 3. So I'm going to start at the center, which is 0, 0, and I'm going to add 2 root 3. So this point right here, you're not going to like it, but it's going to be 2 root 3, comma 0. If you start at 0 and add 2 root 3, then you're at 2 root 3. What is this one going to be? Negative 2 root 3, comma 0, exactly. So we're going to add 2 root 3 to our center. And which way am I going? Sideways? So I'm adding it to the x, right? So 0 plus 2 root 3 and 0 minus 2 root 3. And those are your foci.
Is there a way that you want us to list the foci and the vertices on our answer? Like, do you want us to put commas in between, or like, how do you want us to list them?
You just have 4 ordered pairs or 2 ordered pairs is fine. All right, you ready to try another one? Oh, yes, you are. Here we go. Okay, this is an ellipse. Do you recognize it? It's not a parabola, not a circle, it's an ellipse. Can you tell me where the center is? Right at the origin, 0, 0. Now what about the vertices? How far sideways am I gonna go? 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And how far up and down am I gonna go? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nobody's grading your picture. These 4 points are called vertices. So on the quiz and the test, it'll say what are the vertices, and you will write those 4 points. Now, tell me about my major and my minor axis in this problem. How long is my long axis? That's my major axis.
10.
No, 12. The long one's 12.
Oh, because it's the 6.
Yeah.
Minus 10.
It's here to here is farther than here to here, right? So this is the major axis, and it's 12. And the minor axis is 10. Anybody remember where I told you the foci are? They're always where? On the major. They're always on the major. So I don't know where they are. You don't care. We don't care. We pop points on there. They're on that axis. They're working on the roof. Okay, you got it? Now, I need to figure out how far up and down to go. Anybody remember how we find the distance from the center to the focus? How did we do it in our last example? We do the square root of 36 minus 25. How do I know how to subtract? Kids, what happens if you do 25 minus 36? And in your imaginary, and that is not what you want, right? So it's big minus little. Big minus little. Doesn't matter what's X or what's Y, it's big minus little. Keep it real. So this time, that distance is the square root of 11. So we're going to start at the center and go straight up the square root of 11. So this is 0, 0. I'm going to go straight up, and if I'm going straight up, which coordinate is changing? So it's going to be 0, comma, square root of 11. And this one will be 0, comma, negative square root of 11. And those are my foci. Okay? We're going to do 2 more, and then we'll do a practice quiz problem. Alright, so here we go. Now the excitement's beginning. Because notice, where not the origin. My center is now at the point what? 1, -2. Now, graph paper really helps. Here, you got a grid there, really helps here. Because, what does this 1 tell me? I'm going to count sideways the square root of 1, which is 1. So you're gonna start here, put your pencil right on that point, 1, -2, and go left 1 and right 1. What are those 2 points? If I go left 1, it's 0, -2. And if I go right 1, it's 2, -2. Then what does that 9 tell me? Up 3. So put your pencil on your center and count up 1, 2, 3 and put a point. And down 1, 2, 3 and put a point. Now, you are on graph paper. What are the coordinates of that point? 1, 1 and 1, -5. Right? Those 4 points are my vertices. So on a test, it will say what are the vertices, and you will write down those 4 points. Now, when everybody agreed this is the major axis, how long is it? Well, if push comes to shove, you can count, or you can remember how we built it. Didn't we count up and down 3? So if we went up and down 3, then the distance of it is going to be 6. So your major axis is 6. And how about our minor axis? 2. So I get that the foci might be a little bit confusing for you. This much of the ellipse is pretty easy. This part's easy. Now we're gonna find our foci. Where are they? They are on your major axis, so they're up here somewhere. I don't know where, no one trade your picture, just put them there somewhere. I need to figure out how far up to go. Right here, that distance. So center to focus, what will it be in this problem? The square root of 8, which is 2 root 2. How did we get 8? 9 minus 1. Now this is where if you just stop a minute, it is so simple. I'm going straight up. Here's my center. I'm going straight up. If I'm going straight up, which coordinate is changing if I'm going up? Y. So the x is going to stay the same if I'm going up and down. So I'm starting at -2, and I'm going to go up 2 root 2. So start your starting point, -2, and add 2 root 2. And then this one will be -2 minus 2 root 2. Now those are not nice looking points, but they are what we have. So we start at the center and go up 2 root 2 and down 2 root 2. We're gonna do one more, and then we'll do a practice problem for tomorrow's quiz. All right. Where's my center?
0,
0, 3. Where are my vertices? Well, I don't know, but I know I'm going to go sideways 4. So on my graph paper, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. let me label these first. So this one will be 4 comma 3 and negative 4 comma 3 on your graph paper. And then I will go up and down 3. Everybody still with me? So those are 0, 6 and 0, 0. So the purple points are my vertices. How long is my major axis? 8. And my minor is 6. No brainers, guys, so easy. Now, focus points are always on the major axis, so the focus points are going to be out here somewhere this time. Everybody in agreement? And I'll know exactly what they are if I can just figure out how far to move. Center to focus for this problem is what? 16 minus 9, which is 7, square root of 7. Big minus little, 16 minus 9. So I'm going to start at my center and I'm going to move sideways. Now, since I'm moving sideways, which coordinate won't change? Y. So the Y is going to stay free. Okay? And what's going to happen to the X? Well, I'm going to take my starting point, which happens to be 0, and add root 7. So this is 0 plus root 7 and 0 minus root 7. All right, let's put those away. We'll continue this tomorrow.
So, the center is 1, negative 3, would be 1 minus 3.
Yep, just like it was over here. Negative 2 plus 2 root 2, negative 2. All right, what do you want, a circle or a parabola? Circle?
Wait, which one's?
Which one was the quiz now?
The quiz has a circle and a
I'm
parabola.
saying the one we just did.
Which one?
That one's circle.
Let's let you do the one that we did.
Well, it's too late now. Everybody said circle, so that's what we got. We probably can get a parabola done too, though. We hurry. Here we go. Your job, probably gonna look just like that. It's gonna say find the center and the radius. So you're gonna have to clean up your equation, right? So first thing we do is, yep, move those X's and Y's. And move the 5 to the other side where it will become positive. Everybody good so far? All right, let's do it. What goes here? 4. Half of 4 squared. Half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. What goes here? 9. Everybody keeping up? What do we got here? What parentheses? X minus 2. Perfect. What parentheses here? Y plus 3 squared. And 18. Your job is to write down the center and the radius. Well, now you know. The center is 2, negative 3, and the radius is the square root of 18, which reduces to 3 root 2. Now, your radius tomorrow may or may not reduce. If you got the square root of 17, you got the square root of 17. All right, that's one quiz problem tomorrow. Here's the other one. We can do it. The other one says something like y minus 3 squared equals negative 20, x plus 4, and you're gonna find vertex, focus, directrix, and focal width. You're gonna fill in the blanks. So where's your vertex?
Negative.
Negative 4, 3.
Backwards.
Guys, you've got to make sure, I mean, put x, y on the paper physically to remind yourself it's x comma y. If your vertex is in the wrong place, your focus is going to be wrong, your director is going to be wrong. So get that vertex down. Negative 4. What's your focal width? 20. Which way do I open? Left. This is going to be the biggest thing some of you are going to need to memorize. Why are we opening left? We're y squared and negative. Right? My focus is in here somewhere. I need to know how far that is. Well, in parabola land, it actually has a name. It's called P. And we know that 4P is 20. So P is 5. Now you have graph paper, so just count it off if you want. But if you don't have graph paper or don't want to count it off, look, I'm going straight back. Which coordinate is changing if I'm going straight back? X, right? So I'm at negative 4 and I'm backing up 5. So where am I going to be? Negative 9. And the y doesn't change because I'm going straight back. But on your graph paper, just count back 5. And then if I go forward 5, where am I going to be?
X equals 1.
X equals 1. And here's the quiz, kids. We just took it in about 4 minutes. Okay? All right, so remember you got your parabola homework due on Tuesday, but